The briefing room hummed with the usual pre-deployment tension as Lieutenant Marcus Webb stood at attention among the other human soldiers. The war against the Collective had dragged on for 3 years, and humanity's survival depended on the fragile alliance with a dozen alien species. Today's announcement would change everything for the troops assembled in the sterile chamber. "You will each be paired with a Vryn warrior," Commander Patterson declared, her voice cutting through the murmurs. "They're our strongest allies, and integration at the squad level is now mandatory." Marcus had seen the Vryn before, towering creatures with 4 arms and chitinous armor that gleamed like polished obsidian. They communicated through a series of clicks and whistles that the translation devices could barely interpret. What he had not expected was the creature that entered the barracks that evening. The Vryn assigned to him stood, nearly 8 feet tall. With deep purple plating and eyes, it shifted through colors like an oil slick. Where other Vryn moved with predatory grace, this one seemed to study everything with an unsettling intensity. "I am called Thorn," the alien said through the translator hanging from its neck. The device made its voice sound mechanical and flat. "You are Marcus." "Lieutenant Webb," Marcus corrected, though he immediately regretted the formality. The Vryn tilted its head in a gesture that might have been amusement. "As you prefer, Lieutenant." Thorn moved to the empty bunk, examining it with 2 hands while the other pair hung loosely at its sides. "This will require modification." The first week proved difficult. The Vryn ate foods that made Marcus's stomach churn, slept in 3-hour intervals instead of a full night's rest, and insisted on morning rituals that involved standing motionless for an hour while humming at frequencies that rattled Marcus's teeth. Worse, Thorn questioned every order, every tactic, every decision Marcus made during training exercises. "Why do humans charge forward when surrounded?" Thorn asked, after one particularly frustrating simulation. "Your species lacks natural armor. Logic suggests retreat and regrouping." Marcus gritted his teeth. "We don't abandon our people. That's not how we operate." "Then your species will die," Thorn replied simply, turning away, the resentment built like pressure in a sealed container. Other human soldiers complained about their Vryn partners, but most reported grudging cooperation. Marcus seemed cursed with the most obstinate alien in the entire alliance. Everything changed on Helios Prime. The mission was supposed to be a simple reconnaissance sweep of an abandoned mining colony. Intelligence suggested the Collective had moved on, leaving only automated defenses. Intelligence, as it turned out, was catastrophically wrong. The ambush came from 3 directions simultaneously. Collective drones poured from the buildings like metallic hornets, their weapons laying down suppressive fire that pinned the squad in the open plaza. Marcus saw Private Collins go down first, then Sergeant Rodriguez. The translator devices filled the air with screaming voices in a dozen languages. "Fall back to the transport," Marcus shouted, but the path was already cut off. They were trapped, surrounded, and the drones were advancing with mechanical precision. Thorn moved before Marcus could give another order. The Vryn grabbed him with 2 arms and threw him behind a concrete barrier with surprising gentleness. Then Thorn charged directly into the drone swarm. What Marcus witnessed defied everything he thought he knew about combat. Thorn's 4 arms became a blur of motion, each limb working independently to deflect, strike, and destroy. The Vryn's chitinous armor absorbed shots that would have killed a human instantly. But it was not the physical prowess that shocked Marcus. It was the strategy. Thorn was not fighting to kill the drones. The alien was hurting them, pushing them into clusters, forcing them to bunch together. Marcus realized the pattern just as Thorn activated something on its armor. An electromagnetic pulse rippled outward, and every drone in the plaza dropped simultaneously, their circuits fried. "Move now," Thorn's translator crackled as the Vryn collapsed to one knee, smoke rising from his armor. "The pulse damaged my systems." I cannot do this again. Marcus did not hesitate. He rallied the surviving squad members, and they fought their way to the transport, half carrying Thorn's massive form. The Vryn had taken hits that would have obliterated a human, yet still functioned enough to provide covering fire with its remaining operational arm dot back on the ship. Marcus sat beside the medical bay, where human and Vryn doctors worked to repair Thorn's damaged armor and treat the burns underneath. Commander Patterson appeared beside him, her expression unreadable. Your partner violated direct orders, she said quietly. Charged an enemy position without authorization and used restricted military hardware. Marcus looked at her steadily. My partner saved 12 human lives. Patterson nodded slowly. The Vryn Council is not pleased. They believe Thorn showed favoritism toward human casualties over objective completion. There will be an inquiry. Then I'll testify, Marcus said. Thorn made the right call. The commander's lips twitched in what might have been a smile. See that you do, Lieutenant. The inquiry took place 3 days later. The chamber held representatives from 6 species, each with their own translators and cultural expectations. Marcus stood at attention while they reviewed the combat footage and tactical analysis. A crystalline being that Marcus could not identify spoke first, its translator rendering the words in clipped tones. The Vryn designated Thorn prioritized preservation of human life over mission parameters. This suggests compromised judgment. With respect, Marcus interrupted, ignoring protocol. Thorn prioritized preserving the squad. That's exactly what any good soldier should do. Humans are not Vryn, another alien observer stated. The exchange rate of casualties is not equivalent. Marcus felt anger surge through him, hot and sharp. Then maybe you should explain that to the humans who are dying to protect your worlds. The room fell silent. Commander Patterson cleared her throat pointedly, but Marcus was not finished. I've watched humans and aliens fight side by side for 3 years, he continued. We've bled together. We've died together. If this alliance means anything, it means we value each other's lives equally. Thorn understood that better than anyone in this room. The crystalline being made a sound like wind chimes. You speak with passion, Lieutenant. But passion is not logic. No, Marcus agreed. It's better. It's what makes us worth saving. The inquiry ended without resolution, but Thorn was cleared for active duty. When the Vryn emerged from the medical bay, its armor had been repaired and enhanced with additional plating. Marcus waited in the corridor. I testified on your behalf, Marcus said awkwardly. Thought you should know. Thorn's eyes shifted to a deep blue that the cultural database suggested meant contemplation. Why would you risk your standing for a Vryn? Because you risked your life for humans, Marcus replied. That makes you one of us. The alien was quiet for a long moment. Then it did something Marcus had never seen a Vryn do. It extended one hand in the human gesture of greeting. Marcus gripped the chitinous appendage, surprised by its warmth. I have studied human culture extensively, Thorn said. Your species has a saying about judgment based on character rather than appearance. I believed it was propaganda. I was incorrect. Yeah, well, Marcus managed to smile. I thought all Vryn were inflexible warriors who cared more about protocols than people. Guess we were both wrong. Not entirely. Thorn's translator somehow conveyed amusement. I am quite inflexible. Ask anyone. Over the following months, Marcus and Thorn became the model for human-Vryn integration. They developed new mixed-species tactics that other units adopted. They learned each other's languages without translators, trained together until they could anticipate each other's movements, and discovered that their different perspectives made them stronger than either could be alone. Other soldiers noticed the change. The complaints about Vryn partners decreased. Cooperation increased. The alliance grew stronger, one unlikely friendship at a time. When the final battle against the collective came, Marcus and Thorn fought at the front lines. They moved like parts of a single organism, human adaptability combining with Vryn's strength. When Marcus was wounded, Thorn carried him to safety. When Thorn's armor failed, Marcus provided covering fire until repairs could be made. They survived the war together, years later. After the peace treaties were signed, and the collective was nothing but a historical footnote, Marcus stood before a gathering of humans and aliens at the newly established Alliance Academy. He was older now, with scars and gray hair to show for it. Beside him stood Thorn, armor polished and gleaming with metals from 6 different worlds. When I was first assigned an alien partner, Marcus told the assembled cadets, I thought it was a burden. I was unprepared for what followed. I was unprepared to learn that courage has no species, that honor transcends biology, that friendship can bridge any divide. He glanced at Thorn, who inclined its head in acknowledgement. The future of this galaxy depends on all of us, Marcus continued. Not as humans or Vryn or any single species, but as allies who choose to see the person inside the armor. That's the lesson Thorn taught me. That's the lesson I hope you all learn before it's too late. The cadets applauded, a sound that mixed with clicks, whistles, and harmonics from a dozen spec.